have a couple of wedding gifts that I've been hanging on to out of sheer guilt. I know I'm a therapist. I should really know not to succumb to the power of guilt, but it's really hard because there's some really beautiful pieces. So I thought we could take a look at them together. I have held on to this. It's like almost as big as my head. It is enormous. I mean, as you can see, it's like the entire size of my body. And I mean, you could wear it as a hat too. It's enormous. It is absolutely beautiful. And I remember getting this for my wedding and I absolutely loved it. And I saw myself like putting it out during buffets and different things that I was hosting. But these dishes, I have realized, just are no longer fitting quite in with the space that I have. And I've decided that they're starting to feel a little impractical. And when I started to think about decluttering them, I felt really guilty because these were wedding gifts and they were beautiful. And so I thought maybe some of you might be feeling the same way. I have a bigger one. It's learning to let go of these things. And then of course there's like these rolling pins, like who needs two? I don't know. What I really want to do today is really just empower you. We have to really process, what is this guilt about? And does it come from a healthy place? How can we free ourselves and really give ourselves permission to look at gifts in a slightly different way? I feel like this is going to set us free, and it's certainly going to help my Center Island situation. I have had this, well, obviously our entire marriage, and it is so lovely, and it reminds me of one of my favorite people, and it has sat in my corner cabinet crowding everything for such a long time. So this is another one that's on the list along with the ginormous squares and rectangles. So I think what we have to first realize is like, what is a healthy definition of a gift? When people give us things, they are intending to bless us, right? When it is no longer a blessing, we are free to unburden ourselves from the stress or the extra inventory that these items bring. And so the first step in really just getting over the guilt that we feel like, oh my gosh, she would be so mad. I really don't know if that's true, because I feel like when people give gifts freely, there are no expectations attached. And that's something that I had to really identify early on in my own therapy journey when I was the client. I remember processing how some gifts are gifts and they feel free, and some gifts feel like carrots. Like a carrot on a string, like I'll give you this, but I expect this. Well, in the case of the wedding gifts and the ginormous dishes that I showed you, they are free gifts. And even if they weren't free gifts, we have the ability to be empowered to say, you know what? This beautiful gift is something that I have greatly appreciated. I bless the gift. I bless the person who gave it to me, who truly did make me feel so loved and special at a really special time in my life. And now I can let it go and free myself from any expectations that they might have held. It also can be helpful to think about gifts that you have given. Like, have you ever given a gift where you're like, I will be so mad if she gets rid of this? So to really define a gift in your own mind of, you know, it was meant to be a blessing, and if it's no longer feeling that way, it's okay to let it go. There's this candy dish. So honestly, my husband and I cannot remember if this was from his grandmother or mine, but I've been kind of thinking I need to ask him if it's okay to let go of this one. Hey, honey, is it okay to let go of this one? He doesn't know he's on video. Do you know whose this is?
Did it come from Grandma?
Which one?
Grandma.
Oh, it's that grandma. Okay, I guess we're keeping it.
It's so little.
I just realized that I'm wearing the same sweater that I wore in my last video that I was recording earlier, and so I'm just gonna do a quick outfit change. That a true gift really has your best in mind. And so if at any time an object or a gift has felt like a burden, something that hasn't really added to our life but is actually taking it away, these giant dishes are taking up so much space. I don't really use them enough to warrant taking up that much space. Once I put these dishes out, I don't have room to put other things out. And so practically speaking, it doesn't really work. So I'm going to go ahead and free myself up to bring these to the consignment store. I also think it can be helpful to realize that a true gift does not carry a long-term loss. We can think about it more broadly, like at the time, that gift was exactly what I needed. You know, we had a brand new marriage and a brand new house, and we were starting our family. And I think the important thing that we need to recognize as we're doing this work is that other people may not agree with our assessment of what that is. They may not see it the same way, and that's okay. I think if our goal is to live an authentic life, we could be honest with ourselves and say, you know, that gift just isn't really working for me right now, and I'm going to release it. And you know what? I actually have never looked back. I cannot think of one time when I've regretted letting something go. Like once it's in the garage or once it's in the car, out of your home, it's so much easier to let it go and to feel sort of free about it. I think it's the act of moving it. So like picking this up and like bringing it out for the consignment store is a little bit hard, and I have some letting go to do. Once you've had the opportunity to truly appreciate that person's heart towards you and the gift that it was intended to be, you are free then to ask yourself, is this still working for me? Does this fit in to our current lifestyle or our current space? Do I use it enough to make it worthwhile to make a space for it? And if you really aren't sure of answering yes to all of those questions, I just want to give you permission. Let the guilt go. Remember, guilt is not from God either. Guilt usually comes into play when we're trying to please people. And remember, at the end of the day, it's your home, it's your space, and you can trust yourself and your intuition and your gut on this, of whether it's going to work for you or not. Most people feel lighter and they feel freer to really feel empowered over the things that you own, to feel like this fits in my house and I've intentionally chosen to let you stay here. That is a powerful experience. I want you to let go of guilt and shame, because our job in the end is not to please other people in an unhealthy sense of the word. We want to love other people, but first we have to love God and then love others. And part of loving others usually doesn't mean complying with their expectations and definitions for our life. We are the ones that get to choose that, figure out how it aligns with our lives, our hearts, our space, our schedules, all of those things. And then we're empowered to make choices. And you have a right to make a choice to bless and release something in the name of it not working for you anymore or not being a blessing. And don't forget that your blessing of donation or consignment or whatever allows someone else to enjoy it. And sometimes I feel like that's the greater travesty when we give into guilt, is we forget that when we free up the stuff, we free it up to cross someone else's path. And maybe there is someone out there who really wants an enormous square dish. I mean, it could be. I want to bless that person with it. I want someone else to be free to enjoy it. I don't need to hoard it for myself. What's the point? A greater travesty would be for this ginormous dish not to be filled ever again. So I'm going to let myself pay it forward and be a blessing to that next person. It's about traveling lightly, holding things lightly, letting them pass through our fingers to other people who can really enjoy them as well. In that sense, you become a vehicle of God's blessings, because all the good things that we receive are ultimately from God. The truth is that He trusts us to freely give those things when they come across our path. And so I love generosity. I love the idea that nothing truly belongs to us, but that we are allowed to use it and enjoy it for a time. And so if we adopt that philosophy, we can freely let go of things, knowing that it's really never been about pleasing a different relative over the gift that they've given us. It's about letting it be a blessing, letting it be freely held in our open hand, where we feel like we can definitely pass it along and bless someone else. Are there any things like this in your house that you're going to be letting go of this week? Let's travel lightly together.